Hello, my name is Valeria Daza, and I will be talking in this video about the African American English dialect. African American English, also known as AAE, is a language variety that has also been identified at different times in dialectology and literary studies as Black English, Black dialect, Negro non-standard English. It has always been questioned how much, in the end, this dialect has been influenced by African languages. It was originated around the time the first African slaves were brought to work on the plantations of the North American Southeast. It subdivides in 5 different types: African American Vernacular English, African American Standard English, African American Appalachian English, African American Outer Banks English, and Gula. The first one, African American Vernacular English, also known as AAVE, is the variety formerly known as Black English, Vernacular, or Vernacular Black English among social linguists, and commonly called Ebonics outside the academic community. It's the type of AAE that has been more deeply studied and analyzed, which resulted in providing several different examples in the parts of vocabulary, sounds, and grammar for a better understanding and visualization of it. When it comes to vocabulary, AAVE speakers do use some words which are not found in other varieties, and furthermore use some English words in ways that differ from the standard dialect. For example, the word bogus, which means fake and fraudulent, comes from the language Hausa, and in that language is pronounced boko or boko boko, and it also means deceit or fraud. On the part of sounds, one of the examples is my is pronounced ma, as in he's over at my sister's house. For grammar, some examples are the following. I don't care what he say, you gon' laugh. As long as is kids around, he's gon' play rough or however they're playing. African American Standard English, also known as AASE, is a standard variety composed of many sub-varieties of American English, that has distinctively Black grammatical features, DBGFs, such as stressed bin, which refers to the use of the word bean on AAE. They pronounce it as bin. It's important to highlight the existence of AASE along with the other types, since most of the times it's erroneously implied that all AAE is vernacular, leaving behind the other 4 types. One of its characteristics is the omission of the final consonant in word final consonant clusters, so words such as past or hand may lose their final consonant sound, making them in the end sound like past or hand. African American Appalachian English, which was originated from a small African American community in the Smoky Mountain region of Appalachia in Texana, North Carolina, which only had 140 residents in 2004. The differences that it has with the other types are the following. Morphosyntactic variables examined are third people as attachment, third singular as absence, copula absence, and past tense be leveling. Phonological variables include rhoticity, syllable coda consonant cluster reduction, and I glide weakening. The African American Outer Banks English. It arose from Roanoke Island on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Roanoke Island is well known as the site of the Lost Colony, where the first settlement of British colonists disappeared in 1587. During the Civil War era, it had over 3,000 African American residents, whereas back in 2004, this group had already been reduced to around only 200. Some examples on how this type differentiates itself from the others are past tense of the verb be, levels to weren't, static locative to for at, copula absence, third person singular absence, and prevocatic consonant cluster reduction. Now, the final one, which is Gula, also called Sea Island Creole or Geechee, English-based Creole vernacular spoken primarily by African Americans living on the seaboard of South Carolina and Georgia in the U.S., were also culturally identified as Gulas or Geechee. It came from African slaves working in the rice fields during the 18th century, and an example of it is the following. The verb go, pronounced as g, is typically used to mark the future tense, as in he go see him. He'll see him, her, it. In conclusion, the dialect and its types are continuously being studied and analyzed nowadays, and it's important to maintain it because all the discoveries that it brings enriches the diversity in languages all over the world. More research is now devoted to describing structural peculiarities of both Ebonics and Gula in detail, which may eventually shed more light on the origins and typological affiliations of AAE. Now, that's a summary of how the African American English dialect subdivides and how it's spoken and a little bit of history of each one of them. Now, I'm going to play a video in which African American people talk about their experiences using their dialect.
If I'm in the comfort of my own home, if I'm with my friends or whatever, I may say something that I know is grammatically incorrect or that that isn't a word, but I don't care. I want my friends, they know what I mean. But when I step outside my house, depending on where I am, if in this type of environment or any business environment, or if I'm at the bank or if I'm at the grocery store, I got to make sure I articulate myself well for society reasons, for the fact that I need to make sure they know exactly what I'm talking about or they understand exactly the point I'm trying to get across. Two guys walk up together and they might dab each other off and say, "What's up, son?" But that mean homeboy, "What's up, brother?" You might be my ride or die, my homie, my ace, you know. My broski, we say stuff like that, and they'll be like, "Okay, why you can't just say friend? Hi, friend."
It's like we finna talk our own way, you know, and it's just like we have to have some form of individuality, in the way that we speak. And so using slang or using this so-called inferior English, as they would say, is definitely some type of form of rebellion. And it's also just a form of expression for us to be able to express ourselves in some type of unique way.
Trying to be successful in this world, you feel as though you have to be able to speak on their terms and behave on their terms. So it's twofold. Um, it's this need to fit in, and it's also pressure put on from the other side. If you don't speak and appear in ways that are similar to us, then you probably are not that good. If you speak in that other, you slang words and you speak in African American, then you maybe not that smart, maybe not as educated. So you're forced to assimilate.
In trying to speak with someone else that's like in a corporate world, they would look at those kind of things, and it depends on what kind of jobs that you're looking for. And grammar is a big thing in this society. So speaking correctly, that's proper English, you know.
A lot of corporations or a lot of jobs and stuff like that, if you speak too heavy slang, like a lot of slang terms, like they'll look at you like you a thug, or they'll look at you like, what I'm saying, like you a gangster, and that you're not properly educated or that you're not as smart. And a lot of times it don't really have anything to do with that. It's just the environment that they was brought up in.
I feel like even in our own community, you get a lot of people that judge us or that are harsh on us just because of where they were growing up or who they grew up around or who they surround themselves around.
You are born African American. You have to prove that you are not one of the bad ones. You have to prove that you are not lazy, that you can fit in, that you can do this. So and how those outsiders assess um, what type of person you are is based on a lot of things. One being language.
Thank you very much.